Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Andrea Scott, and I am the Director of Open Educational Resources at Salt Lake Community College, and also the co-VP of CCC OER EDI Committee. And I'm joined here with my colleague. I'll let you introduce yourself, Wayde.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Wayde Oshiro. I'm the Interim Learning Commons and Library Coordinator at Leeward Community College, and I am also a co-VP of the CCC OER EDI Committee.
So we're so excited to see all of you here to join us today in this curation project. What we would like to do now is just take some time for you to go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. Go ahead and let us know who you are, what area you come from, what organization or institution you represent, and anything else you would like to share with us. We want to know who's here, and we're excited to work along with you today. So today I'm just going to go ahead and cover our agenda for this session. We are going to cover CCC OER and the EDI committee, provide an overview of that. Also, the purpose of the EDI curation project, the origins of where that project came from, and EDI resource examples. Then we'll cover the curation spreadsheet and overview and have some discussion because we're really looking for guidance from the community about how we can best organize this and make it efficient and accessible for the whole community. Then we'll begin our EDI curation. So this is the fun part where we get to go in and add our resources to the list. Next, we'll review the curated list and look for any gaps that are missing, any kind of areas that we need to add to the spreadsheet, or maybe resources that we're missing that we can continue to add after this presentation. And then we'll discuss at the end the next steps for the curated list, what our hopes are, and then we hope that you can help us in planning that and provide some feedback on that. Can you move to the next slide, Wayde? So as I mentioned, we're here with CCC OER. CCC OER is a community of practice supporting and encouraging colleges in the collaborative development of open educational programs to ensure equitable access and success. There are currently 104 members, and this continues to grow over 36 states. And you can see some of the overall mission, the work here that CCC OER does. You're welcome we would love for you to join our the listserv community, and down at the bottom of this page, you can see there is an option for you to join our community email. Can you move to the next slide, Wayde? So as I mentioned, I'm here along with my colleague, Wayde Oshiro, and we are the co-VPs of the CCC EDI committee for CCC OER. This is our committee members, and we work together to guide the committee and EDI work at CCC OER. As first generation practitioners, we work together to support the intersection of EDI and OER. And we have developed several projects over the last few years. And some of those I'm just going to mention. We have a CCC OER EDI Summer Book Club, which focuses on EDI principles. Last year, we had Origin Stories, Pathways to the Open Movement we read together and discussed. And then we have a facilitator handbook and also a facilitator training, which focuses on practices of providing a safe space and other goals within that. Can you move to the next slide, Wayde? So the CCC OER EDI committee supports the strategic plan by the plan that's represented in Pillar 1. We advocate for open educational practices to empower contributions from diverse learners and educators who have been underrepresented. So that's our vision. And then this here, what we do, this talks about our statement of purpose in the work that we do. Okay, can you move to the next slide, Wayde? Okay, so where did the EDI curation project come from? Wayde, you can jump in here in this conversation because I think this was really a conversation between Wayde and I discussing like what can we do within the open education community that would be beneficial along the lines of EDI. And one of the ideas that came up that we were discussing is oftentimes I can speak for myself. I've been to many wonderful presentations. I've learned about several resources. And then I set those resources somewhere in a folder and they get lost. And so what happens is I come back 6 months later when I need that resource, and then it turns into this searching. And although it's something you can find, it's just not an efficient process. So our goals with this project are to create a space for curated EDI resources and tools, and to crowdsource with the open education community, because there's together we bring so much more knowledge. And also to explore the potential of developing a community of practice centered on EDI curation. So depending on how much interest is the community has in this project, it is something that we can continue as possibly an ongoing community of practice through CCCOER. And that's something we'd like to talk to you and also our committee about. Maybe it's something where we can meet up once a quarter or once a month, and we can continue to work on this list together. So now we're going to share just a few examples of the curated list that we have not front loaded the list with a lot of resources, because we wanted to see what the open education community brings to this, and then we will continue to add as a committee as well. Wade, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so this is the first example that we have is the Doers, that OER Equity Blueprint. This is considered an assessment resource. And according to Doers, the overreaching goal of the Doers Equity Blueprint is to define, unpack, and explain the multiple dimensions of equity and foreground of the role of OER in closing equity gaps. And so there's 3 different parts to this framework that I've listed here. And then there's the link. So in the spreadsheet, this is listed under assessment. And then we also have the type of license it has, and also a note about how this resource could be beneficial. I will just add a quick personal note. We have used the Doers Equity Blueprint to assess our equity gaps in our program at SLCC at Salt Lake Community College. And it was a very beneficial resource for us. Can you move to the next slide, Wayde? The next resource that we want to point out, we have this one, Trans Inclusion in OER. This particular resource we have categorized under learning and teaching. However, this could possibly go under course design as well. And there may be several resources that could go in different categories, and we'll discuss that as a group of how we best organize that. But we wanted to highlight this resource, and just a note from the authors, this resource is a guide on how to make OER more inclusive and representative of trans and gender diverse people. It is tended to be easily incorporated into scholarly communication courses, while also being valuable to faculty and others interested in learning about the topic and how to make changes in their own course materials. So, and then Wayde, I'll turn over the time to you.
Thank you, Andrea. And so this is another example that we added to the list. This is the IDFS rubric. It's from the University of California Instructional Design and Faculty Support Community of Practice. And so what they did was that this group actually took some pre-existing models, one of which is the Peralta Community College District Online Equity Rubric, and took those examples and created this rubric that applies, I believe it was 8 or so dimensions for faculty to use to evaluate their courses for equity and inclusiveness. And so this is kind of one of the practical tools that, we hope to include in this EDI resource list. The next one I wanted to point out, and this is actually an area of my personal interest right now, is this Indigenous Information Literacy by Rachel Chong at Kwantlen Polytechnic University. And so this publication provides best principles and how you apply or use Indigenous knowledge in OER. And so this is an example that you can look at, a resource that you can turn to if you are interested in, indigenizing the course curriculum. So these are just 4 examples that we have here. And what we're hoping to do next with all of you here, and we're like really totally excited to have so many people here in this room today. We weren't sure how many people would be joining us today, but we wanted to bring in the community to help us to start curating some of these resources. You know, just being in the Rajiv's keynote this morning, you know, there were several resources that were shared, and I saw in the chat that people were asking about, you know, is the keynote being recorded and so forth. And so seeing all of these resources and knowing that they're there, but where do you go after the conference to find these resources again? And so we created this resource list, and I'm just going to quickly drag over that list, and please go to the use that short link that was shared earlier in the chat. And so one thing I wanted to point out with this spreadsheet that we've created is this is just like a shell. And so it was within the EDI committee that we started this conversation about how do we organize these resources. And what you see here are the categories that we came up with in our community. And so I just want to point out that we don't think that it's incomplete. And so we're looking to you to help us either to critically give us critical feedback on the existing categories or suggesting categories, because we know that this is not a comprehensive list of possible categories of resources supporting EDI work in open education. Okay. So what we want to do now in the next 15 or so minutes is to we're going to have 3 breakout rooms that you will manually join on your own. So you'll decide which categories you want to work in. So breakout room 1 is assessment and course design. Breakout room 2 is indigenization and teaching and learning. And the third breakout room is other. So if you want to create a new category, then go into this room. And what you can do on the spreadsheet is there is a tab that you can copy. It's a title template, and you can copy and create a new category. And during the 15 or so minutes that we have reserved for this curation time, what we want you to do within the breakout rooms can be silent work, just going and finding resources. So some resources that you learned about, let's say this morning at some of the sessions you attended, or resources that you've used yourself and that you want to put onto this list. And so we want your help to start to build this resource list, or compile these resources together. And so right now, I see some of you have already started maybe looking at the spreadsheet. I'm going to open up the rooms, and I want to invite you to join one of the breakout rooms. And in the next 15 minutes, start to add resources to this spreadsheet. Are there any questions right now before we start? Okay, so please join a breakout room now and start adding your resources to our spreadsheet. Mahalo.
Sorry, Wade, you're on mute. We can't hear you
Sorry,
again.
I am seeing in the chat, some of you have not received an invitation to join a breakout room. So I'm just going to put you into a breakout room so that you can just work in that space.
Okay, it looks like we have a few of you here. We are currently doing curation right now. If you missed the first part of our presentation. So we're in breakout rooms right now. Would you, I can go ahead and assign you to a room. And what we're doing right now is just adding resources to the list. Okay, sure, no worries. I have your message here, Amy, not a problem whatsoever. That's great. Okay, I'm just going to, for those who are in this room right now, I'm just going to add the link in case you don't have it. Right now, the group is curating a list. So let me just add that to the chat.
So, Andrea, did you jump into the other room yet? breakout room yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I was kind of managing this one because people
Okay.
keep coming in
Oh,
and so
thank
I'm
you.
just repeating the instructions.
So there are some technical issues with so many people in the Google spreadsheet right now. So
Oh, are
just an
they?
FYI. So I'm
Okay.
telling people that we'll keep the spreadsheet open throughout the conference so people can add once we have fewer people. I don't think we anticipated so many people to be here today.
Oh, okay. So it's having problems because the numbers.
There are just too
Yeah.
many people in it. So
Okay.
so maybe we need to cut short the breakout rooms because people are just having trouble going in, and we can maybe just talk about the spreadsheet and if people have any thoughts or feedback for us.
Yeah, I think that would be a good
Okay. All
suggestion.
right. So
Yeah.
shall we give them 3 more minutes to kind
Yeah,
of,
three
yeah,
more
okay.
minutes and then we'll come
Okay.
back.
Got
And
it.
then Wade, we'll just kind of handle the discussion together. Is that okay with the
Yeah,
gaps?
that's
And
sure,
yeah,
that's
okay.
fine.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. I just sent a message and I'm going to go ahead and close all rooms. So we'll bring them back in a minute. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to main room. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. We did not anticipate so many people joining us today, and so Google Docs wasn't able to handle so many people trying to add resources. So what we will do is we will keep this spreadsheet open and available. So now that you have the URL, and we'll share that again. You can continue to add resources during the conference. So if you learn of anything new, or if there was something that you wanted to share that you weren't able to share during the breakout, please continue to add those to the spreadsheet. And now what we wanted to do is just get some of your feedback, or if you have any questions about the resource, what you like or didn't like about how we organize the categories, and where are the gaps that you see here?
So, and Wade, could it be helpful to pull up the spreadsheet? Maybe can we do that? Maybe and just kind of look at what's on there and Oh, wow. There's quite a few, it looks like, for assessments. That's great. And course design. And learning. This is great.
In one of the groups, we were talking about how there are so many really great resources for images, and you can't find them all in one place. You know, there are LibGuides, Pressbooks, individual articles. So we weren't sure, how to put those in the chart in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's a great point, Heather. I appreciate you bringing that up because that was actually one example I was going to discuss as photographs. So I think, I don't know, I would like to hear what the community's perspectives are on that. My thoughts are if we have a specific link to link them to for those resources, I know they're going to be separate, which could be a lot, but if anybody has any feedback or anything they would like to add to Heather's comments, that would be helpful.
We found a resource that seemed to have a pretty extensive list. It was an OER, what do you call it? An OER. It was called Enhancing Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility in Open Educational Resources by Nikki Anderson. And it had one page in the press book was diverse and inclusive imagery, and had a pretty extensive list of links.
And yeah, and as we were kind of building this and starting to look for resources, I came across good examples of people already curating resources. And so, yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily want to recreate the wheel here, but yeah, we have these guides, these resource lists that others have created. And so, we could potentially just add these and include these and point people to, those lists that are already out there. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I do think that we should be pointing people to existing lists as well.
Yeah, is there any other feedback from the group or any comments or recommendations looking at how things are organized right now? Do you have any suggestions or any thoughts you would like to add?
I think you might benefit from separating studies that about the topic and guides about how to do the topic.
Okay, great. Thank you for the suggestion. I noticed there was a category in here, Wade. Last time I looked at the spreadsheet, did you add AI and GPT chat use? If not, that's fine. I think that's great that it's here, but this is kind of what we want to see is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a new category. Someone added that. And so thank you so much for including that. So again, the categories we have here are just to get us started. And if you think that, I think we've gotten some suggestions already on how we can, where we can place some of the resources. But yeah. As you can see, we're kind of open. So we're kind of feeling the community out in terms of, we want to make this a practical, useful resource. And that was the main point of kind of this project, is having the community kind of participate in discussing how we can create a practical resource that people can turn to. And then also, figuring out how we're going to make this resource available, how we're going to continue to build this resource to make it a sustainable resource. I think that's another question that is an open question right now. And, you know, is a Google Sheet the best, you know, way to present these resources? And so those are things that we're hoping that you can help us kind of decide.
And I think sometimes too, Wade, at least for me, when I attend sessions, it takes some time for, I like to call the ideas need to marinate. So I will step away, and maybe there's something that you think of later. You step away from the session and you think, oh, this would be a great idea. So we'll talk about the next steps, but you're welcome to reach out to us as well and make suggestions. We're definitely open to that as well.
Yeah, and some useful feedback is coming in through the chat. So thank you so much for putting it there. You know, non-English language options would be helpful. Yes, interactive learning activities as a possible other category. And a comment here that race often gets subsumed, especially Blackness in inclusionary efforts. And so I think that's something that we need to, thank you so much for bringing that point up to our attention, Janelle. And, you know, we need to figure out, you know, how to ensure that we are being open as a community and not, you know, having this overall inclusive multiculturalism over everything, but we need to be also mindful about, you know, ensuring that all voices are heard and all voices are brought into this resource and this conversation. Okay. All right. Andrea?
Yeah, I think
we
we're
move forward? Yeah.
yes, I think it's time to move forward. It's I'm always anticipating the silence because I realize that we need to allow people some time to speak. But yes, I think we can move forward and we can talk about the next steps.
So definitely we welcome your ongoing curation of resources as well as categories in the Google Sheet that we have created. And so we will keep the Google Sheet open for the remainder of the conference. Post-conference, though, we will restrict access because we want to have this as a curated resource. And so we have created a submission form that would allow you to continue to add new resources to this to the list. And what we are hoping to do as an EDI committee, and we are maybe opening it up to the community as well. For those of you who are here today, if you are interested in continuing to assist with this process, because I can see that it's going to take more than our tiny little committee to create, build, and maintain this resource. And so if you are interested in assisting us with building it out and making it a resource that is useful to you and the rest of the community, please contact either myself or Andrea, and we will gladly involve you in our continued efforts here. And so one thing that we are looking at is where we can host this. And so right now, what we've done is we do have a CCC OER EDI committee webpage on the CCC OER website. And so at the bottom of the page, we have a link to the submission form right now. And this may be a place where the resource list, once it's more fully developed, is located. But it's something that is still under discussion. And so, we just thank you all for being here and assisting us with this. Andrea, do you have
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to add here?
No, I don't. So we wanted to give you that space where this list will be hosted in the future so that you don't leave this session wondering where the resource is. As we mentioned, that's a problem we're trying to resolve. So we have, did we put in the chat might be helpful to put in the chat the link to our CCC OER EDI page. For everyone to go to. And then, yeah, if you're interested in continuing to work with us on this, please do reach out, and we would be happy to, we would like to continue conversations. If this is of interest to the community, maybe we can develop that community of practice maybe once a quarter, or talk to the committee about that if that's of interest.
And I just shared the CCC OER EDI committee webpage, and at the bottom of the page is the link to that submission form to continue to suggest resources post-conference. But again, during the rest of the conference, we'll keep this spreadsheet open. And if you learn of any new resources during the sessions that you attend, please add them to our list here, our growing list of resources. And I want to thank all of you for being at our session and working with us, because as you can see, we had this idea and so we are like trying to figure it out, and we welcome your continued support and participation in building this resource. So mahalo.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us here today. And we look forward to connecting with you in the future.